Hello and welcome back to the Hygiene Hangout, the hashtag no filter hygiene podcast. We hope you enjoyed episode 2 and have continued to take the time to keep an eye out for yourself and those around you following the advice from Kelly and Ollie during their time in the Hangout. In this episode, we're going to take on a more industry-focused topic in the form of CIP. That's clean in place for those of you not familiar with that term. Here at Christeyns Food Hygiene UK, we value our history, and CIP within the dairy sector in particular was a huge part of our growth throughout the Cleanse days. With our unrivalled expertise providing our sites with the cleaning and process solutions they needed, it's no wonder we were seen as the go-to supplier when it came to all things CIP. We're tremendously proud of those years, and we're grateful that when the move to the Christeyns family happened, we were allowed to maintain the core ethics and values that grew our reputation within the dairy sector, and continue to develop our business and further support all sectors within the food and beverage industry based on those very same principles. So sit back, relax and enjoy episode 3. Need some help? CIPlease. So Martin, welcome to the Hangout. You're the first member of the field team we've had in, so no pressure. First thing, just tell us a little about yourself, what you do within Christeyns.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I'm Marcin Sampolski. I'm a technical service manager for Christeyns Food Hygiene, and I'm a member of the dairy sector technical team. I have over 11 years experience in dairy industry, and generally speaking, just looking after the customers, making sure they're happy with our service and what we deliver with our solutions, giving them advice. So yeah, that's about me.
Brilliant. So CIP, obviously a huge part of what you do at Christeyns. Can you tell us some of the common problems that you experience while working with CIP sets?
Of course, as you mentioned, CIP is probably the biggest part of the dairy industry, and many customers actually facing very similar issues that we've seen on sites. So yeah, there's quite few common issues like slow heat up of the CIP set, foaming issues with the detergent tank over foaming, the calcium or mineral deposition within the machinery, heat exchangers, as well as poor flow rates. Again, the conductivity not properly calibrated. And very common one as well is the increased production times, so increased demand for the time and allow the manufacturers to find that time for increased production. So those are probably the most common ones that we're coming across and facing.
Okay, so taking a couple of them sort of issues in isolation, the slow to heat up, what would be the possible cause of that, and what would the site actually be seeing?
It could be a few issues with the slow heat up. First one could be a lack of service. So again, we coming back to simple things and the standards really, where there is a lack of time to service the equipment. Therefore, the seals might be worn and the heat exchangers could be leaking, and that can cause the extended heat up time. The other factor could be the hard water on site, which is not treated. Therefore, there is a huge mineral deposition on the heat exchanger, whether it's a plate pack or tubular heat exchanger, due to the bigger layer of additional layer of scale. The heating up time is much longer. The other common factor is the steam traps not working properly. Therefore, the trap the condensate, and again, the heat exchanger is not working as it should be. So those are probably the most common ones that we've seen across the industry.
Okay, and the foaming issue? What would be sort of things, signs that there's issue with foaming?
So there's a few factors with foaming that can affect the seed. Obviously, again, back to standards, the foaming is highly undesirable effect within the CIP set because of the foam. The centrifugal pumps are more likely to cavitate, therefore the flow is affected, and poor flow can hugely affect the efficacy of the CIP regime. So it is really a serious issue, and many people don't really realize that it is an issue. So a few things that most commonly affect the CIP and causing the foaming probably is the product contamination in the detergent tank, which can be caused by few factors. First is the ineffective product displacement after production. Therefore, there is still a lot of product left in the in the circuit that is going to be cleaned, and that product is going back into the detergent solution. It could be the scavenge pump on the return, which causing again the pre-rinse going to be mixed with the product, and a lot of products going back to the detergent tank. It could be a pre-rinse itself that is not long enough to rinse the product down the drain. And again, when it comes to the detergent circulation, all that product is coming back to the detergent tank. So dairy, obviously, milk fats above 50 degrees. Milk fats are liquefied between 50 and 60 degrees. With combination with caustic, create the soap. And then you go the high speed of, they have the high speed of centrifugal flow pumps, and that can cause excessive foaming. The protein above 70 degrees, most of the milk protein are denatured. And again, with high speed of the pump, it can it creates a lot of bubbles. Those bubbles, actually, when they bursting in the pump, they can create a permanent damage as well to the pump, which a lot of people don't realize, but it can't properly damage the impeller or the head pumps. So it is quite important. Other than product contamination, we can also see foaming caused by the air itself. So for example, there is a loose joint on the feed pump or scavenge pump, so they're drawing a lot of air from the outside into the closed CIP system or closed loop.
So similar to when you've got like a mobile phone, when you induce air to generate that foam, and that's why
generally speaking, yes. Yeah. The other factor could be imbalanced flow. So for example, if you have a CIP boost pump within the circuit, most likely with the balance tank, if the CIP boost pump is running quicker than the main CIP pump, it can draw a lot of air through the balance tank, and then again that creates the foam. So yeah, I think those are the most common issues that can cause the foaming.
Yeah, so you mentioned the sort of scale build-up and mineral scale deposits and things like that. Now, for me, predominantly from an open plant cleaning background, it's quite easy to sort of establish sort of water hardness before you do cleaning, and obviously select the chemistry accordingly based on that. Obviously, in the dairy industry, you've got proteins, you've got calcium, all within the product itself. So what should the site actually be looking out for following cleaning? Is there any key indications visually that a site can look out for just to see that scale formation?
Generally speaking, you can see the calcium formation in the pipework. In the enclosed machinery, you can, like pasteurizer, for example, a good indication is delta T, which is the temperature differential between your heating media and your product. Yeah. If the scale is building up, you will see after several weeks that the delta T is increasing. Then it's much higher than your baseline, for example. So that's a good indication. Again, water hardness on site and the wrong chemistry. So water hardness without proper treating. Many sites don't have a scope of treating the incoming water into the site, and if it's hard, it will cause a lot of build-up a lot of scaling, and then that again that can create an issues. Build up of scaling can affect the valve to actuate properly, the pumps itself to work properly. Therefore, it's really important to test the water before we apply any chemistry. So we have to work very close with your suppliers to select correct products. We can, for example, if the water is really hard, we can select the product with high concentration of EDTA with caustic. EDTA will directly attack the inorganic deposition, and that will hugely improve the cleaning efficacy. You can, for example, increase the amount of acid cleans on site as well. However, soft water can affect, it can be a problem as well. If the chemistry is selected in wrong way, again, a lot of sequestrants in the soft water can cause foaming, which we just discussed what sort of issues we can have with that. So it is really important to work with your suppliers. If they failed, come to Christeyns and we're more than happy to help you.
Brilliant. So it brings us nicely on to Christeyns. You've been with the company now, what is it, 6 months?
About 5 months now.
5 months now. How are you finding it?
So far, I'm not looking back. It's been brilliant. To be honest, the people are great, fantastic team. Everyone is absolutely nice. Whenever I ask for help or support, I never heard no or deal it with it yourself. There's always someone to help, which is again fantastic. I had great induction, which basically introduced me to each department. So I had a meeting with each department to demonstrate how they operate, how they communicate with other departments, and I think that's really important for me at least, to understand how the business operates. So that was brilliant. My team itself, fantastic people, very huge knowledge. So I've learned a lot. That's it. And so far I've learned a lot, and looking forward for a long-term career at Christeyns.
It's one thing I certainly notice. So you sort of feel like you're in a good position, you've got the knowledge and things like that, but every day is like a learning day at Christeyns, I find. And not just saying it, you're working with people who've got this vast knowledge. Small problems come up, you think you can deal with them, and you're not quite right, but there's always someone there just to get a second opinion and seek the solutions that you need. So
as I said, only 5 months, but it feels like I've been here for years now. So
is that a good thing?
It is a good thing. So,
no, it's been brilliant to have you as part of the team, mate, and valued assets. And thank you so much for joining us on the Hangout today.